Hi everyone, welcome back to the Three Sisters in a Van's videos on our trip around Australia. This video is a special video because it is our 6-month update.
It's our 6-month anniversary.
It is, yes. I remember a long time ago. Now we did our 1-month update and now we've made it to 6 months. And we've covered a lot of kilometres.
We have.
Seen a lot of things. So we thought this video we'd kind of update everyone on 10 key points from our travels so far.
Yeah.
So we did have to think about what was most important on our list. I guess some things that we wanted to talk about.
Yep.
Things that we had talked about before.
Yep. Things that people have asked us about along the way.
Yeah.
We thought were worth talking about. Yeah.
Yep. So we've got a special list of 10 things on our 6-month journey so far. And yeah, here we go.
Number one. Distance travelled.
It's a big one.
There's been a lot of distance travelled, but you can give us the figures.
So I imported most of our stops, pretty much all of them, into Google Maps. And you can't do it in one hit because they have a limit on how many stops you can have. So I think after many different maps of me updating our travels, we travelled approximately 12,500 kilometres since leaving Tassie, and we're currently, I know we're a bit behind in our videos, we're currently in the Northern Territory near Darwin. So from leaving Tassie, we've gone over to WA, done the south of WA, and now up through the middle and into Darwin. And we've done 12,500 kilometres, and we'll probably add 2,500 onto that, so about 15,000 Ks, because we've done a few day trips out from
So that was our major driving.
Yeah. And a lot of the kilometres have been done in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So getting back from WA and then up through the middle.
Yeah, it's a long way.
Yep, the Nullarbor and then the Red Centre, kind of the Explorer's Way. It's just, a lot of Ks over not a lot of days.
No, there was a lot of driving. But yeah, we got into a bit of a rhythm and did really well.
We did.
Yeah.
So distance travelled around 15,000 kilometres after 6 months.
Yep.
And the second half shouldn't be as long because, I think we mapped it out. It's not as far to go for our next 6 months, so it might take it a bit easier on driving.
Yeah. Right, number 2 on our list.
Number 2
of top 10 things to chat about was highlights. For everyone. We had a bit of a chat as a family and asked people where were the most memorable places or memorable experiences that they've had over the 6 months. And here's what they came up with. So Delilah, our eldest, so she's 11, her top places were Echuca. She loved the paddle steamers at Echuca, really enjoyed her time there, and also loved climbing Frenchman's Peak in Cape Legrand in the south of WA.
That was good. 2 good picks. Florence was next. She loved going to Uluru and seeing Uluru, as well as our farm stay in the Northern Territory. So stay on a farm for around a month, looking after some animals and the farm in the Northern Territory. I think it probably reminded her a bit of home and our animals at home. Yeah. And they got horses here, so they love the horses.
That's a big appeal.
Yeah.
Number 3, we had Ophelia. So Ophelia's just turned 5 this year, and her favourite and most memorable places were number 1, Quadji Beach. I don't know what about it she loved.
I'm not sure.
She just loved it.
It was a beach, there was rocks,
she loved it there. She thought it was just a fantastic place to stay and play.
Anything with shells and she can pick up and take and put in her pockets, she'd love.
Yep, she could have stayed there.
Yep.
Or the other thing specifically was the boat trip out to Rottnest Island. She loved going on the boat. That was very exciting for her. Exciting. So she loved that.
So they were her picks.
Yeah.
And then ours, we kind of agreed on 3, didn't we?
We did. We agreed.
Stops. Yeah. So number 1, did you want to go first?
Number 1 was Hellfire Bay.
Yeah.
So we did chat about that in our last video, and how much we loved Hellfire Bay in Cape Legrand, just outside of Esperance. So that was definitely
very memorable.
That was definitely up there.
Yep. And then 2, we went with 3. 2 was Uluru. Getting to Uluru after, I mean, we read about it, we see it on TV, but just to finally get there and then to get around it was just magnificent. It's just a huge, just magnificent thing in the middle of Australia that's very magical, and it's not just a big rock. There's so much life around it, and we loved learning about Uluru and the history, how it was used, and how Indigenous people lived around there and travelled there, and some of the stories. Some of the stories are related to Uluru, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about Uluru as being the heart of a nation, and it did feel like, a bit of a pilgrimage to go to Uluru. It was like a really special, very special place. So really loved it there. Yeah.
So that was number 2, and the third stop.
And our third one.
It's a bit of a weird one.
It's a bit of a strange one. We haven't spoken about it yet. That's one of our updated videos. But it was our trip to experience Coober Pedy.
Yeah.
Originally, we weren't planning on going to Coober Pedy in our first.
Too hot.
Yeah, in our first kind of itinerary that we'd thought about in our heads, we weren't planning on going to Coober Pedy. But then when we revised our plans, we decided to come back across the Nullarbor, and
we got there.
I'm so glad that we did.
Yeah. It's just such a different spot to anywhere else I guess we'll probably go to.
Yeah.
And that's why. And so different to anything we've ever known. It's just it's a foreign landscape. In Australia. It is just so weird and interesting and quirky, and you can see why people go there to try and strike it rich. It's pretty cool. So we'll have an update on that one pretty soon on our trip to Coober Pedy. So they're our 3 places.
Yeah,
very different. They
are. But
we could have listed a million beaches, but
all very memorable. Those places were.
So they're our top spots that we'd visited so far.
Yeah.
So number 3 were some challenges. So we looked at the positives, and now we're going to look at some challenges on, I guess, living on the road for 6 months.
Yeah. So probably one of the first challenges, I think, is everything being so public. You don't, I mean, we have a very tiny caravan, and so we spend very little time inside the caravan, and so everything that you do is really in the public sphere.
And even if you're in the caravan, people outside can hear. Yeah.
Everyone can hear anyway.
It's not like we're at home, we've got acreage and people can't hear for miles and miles.
No. And so when people, all members of the family, have some kind of emotional breakdown, it's a really public thing to have to deal with, and especially when you're helping children work through their emotions. There's always witnesses to your parenting, and witnesses to their emotions and how everyone deals with things, and that has been a challenge to work through.
Makes you more aware of how you react. I know I'm definitely a more reactive person than you are. So it gets you thinking about how to...
It does.
How you react to certain situations.
But also still, I mean, obviously there are emotions that still need to be worked through, particularly for the girls.
But how we do that.
And how you can do that, though, with tricky. Other people still being watching and making them feel comfortable. So that's been something to work through.
Because we've had some big meltdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's been some big ones.
Oh, yeah. We have 3 daughters.
And they've all had their turns. Luckily, probably not at the same time. So they all take their turns in having their meltdowns. And then we have our meltdown afterwards.
Yep. They all like to have their feelings heard. And so, it's been a lot to kind of, work through that on the road always, but I think we've gotten better at it.
Yeah,
I think you
have to, otherwise, it's just not going to work, is it?
No. I mean, we would have had, as every parent, you would have had these meltdowns at home. It's not necessarily to do with the fact that you're travelling. It's just that's something that carries on when you travel. Life doesn't, as it happens, doesn't stop because you travel.
It's a bit harder to deal with when you're not in your own privacy of your own home.
And also because you don't have your own space to be able to escape to. The girls can't say, I just need to go to my room, or I have a moment, or I can't say, I just need to go and have a moment by myself, I'll come back and deal with this. You're all in there together. So it's probably made our communication as a family a lot better.
So challenge / good learning.
Yeah.
Next challenge, I guess, relates to location. So the first one is finding campsites where you didn't have to be fully self-contained. So some areas, not heaps, but some areas we've kind of looked at going to were only for caravans or setups that were fully self-contained. So you've got your own toilet and shower, and you can collect your grey water and that kind of thing. And because we've got our older vintagey caravan with just a portaloo that we chuck in and out of the caravan. We can't do that, and all of our wastewater goes out. We can collect it in a bucket, but it's not self-contained. So that's been one challenge, because there are probably a few places that do say, and we've seen heaps on Wikicamps that say you've got to be fully self-contained, otherwise they won't let you in, or you'll get fined or something like that. And the other thing relating to locations is with our pets. So obviously we've spoken about this before, but places that we can go to with our furry creatures. So we haven't camped in any national parks, where you probably could have done stacks of camping in national parks. So we've stayed outside them and just travelled in on day trips when we could. So that was another thing in relation to locations and having pets. We just haven't been able to camp in national parks. But again, we don't regret that. We knew that.
We knew that was the case.
I think I would have missed Charlie and the cats way more than wanting to go and camp in national parks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in terms of talking about emotional regulation, they are the best things for the girls to have around in terms of being
cuddle
able
a cat. Pat Charlie.
Go and have a play.
So good.
Yep. And the last challenge that we popped down was missing home. So it was something that kind of cropped up quite a lot in the first, I would say, 4 weeks of being on the road. To the 6-month mark, it feels like we've kind of come full circle, and we've suddenly started to miss things about home. We're obviously we're in the Northern Territory. We're in a completely different climate to Tasmania. We've had completely different seasons. So again, just a lot of those touch points that you have at home that connect you to your daily rhythms and your routines and your friends and seasons and all of those sorts of things.
And you see things going on at home, and
and you're missing out.
So missing homes, it kind of just reared its head again. But we're kind of technically on our way home now. We'll be heading on our way back home slowly. But much as we've missed home, certainly the experience has been absolutely worth it. And it'd be unnatural not to miss home, I guess, for us, because we love home. And
we do.
Yeah, it's just a natural thing to go, I miss our friends. I miss, what's going on there. So, So that was number 3, some challenges. Number 4. Probably a really, really big one for lots of people, and it was for us, is the budget. So we'll talk about our budgeting and how that's gone now.
Yes. So obviously we had an idea in our head of what we thought our expenses were going to be, and that was very quickly shot down in the first month. We are quite disciplined, really, in terms of we're not kind of splashing cash around.
We don't go out and buy alcohol. We don't eat a lot at all, really.
We really hardly eat out.
We don't go to restaurants. We don't get takeaway. We might cook at home, and it's still expensive. I guess there's a couple of reasons for that. So the food side of things, depending on where you're shopping, where you are, where you're located, there might not be any big grocery shopping centres or grocery shops, so you got to buy from the local IGAs, and they can be more expensive. We like buying fresh, and that can be hard, and I guess can be more expensive than buying frozen things, and then that comes down to storage space as well, where we don't have a big fridge. We've got a little caravan fridge, and storing things is an issue. So we can't freeze things. We can't keep a lot in our fridge.
And we can't even bulk buy pantry items because we just don't have the room to keep that amount of stuff. So probably the biggest part of our budget that was a bit surprising and over at the start was our food budget. So after 6 months...
plane flying over.
So
it may or may not be a Air Force fighter jet. We've heard a couple go over today, which is intruding, but they're pretty cool to see.
They are. But yes, food.
Food, yep.
So over 6 months, we've kind of averaged out that per month we're spending about $1,400 on food.
Yep.
Which for a family of 5 actually isn't a lot. I don't think. I think if you're in charge of doing the home economics of grocery shopping in a household, you would.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that wouldn't be kind of out of the ordinary.
So next on our budget after food was the
accommodation.
So we've averaged it out at about $440 a month, which is not too bad.
No.
I think we'd budgeted around $200 a fortnight, so $400 a month-ish. So we're just over on that one. We've stayed at a couple of caravan parks, which has bumped our costs up a bit. But aside from that, we'd be well under.
Yeah.
Fuel was another big one that we kind of underestimated a little bit. We're averaging just under $1,000 a month, so $957 a month. And again, the last 2 months of our travel has probably bumped that up a bit as well.
Yeah,
so we've done a lot of kilometres over the last 2 months. And before that, it probably wasn't too bad. So the next 5.5, 6 months probably won't be as fuel costly. And we've gone through a lot of places where fuel is really expensive too.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down the East Coast where hopefully the petrol prices are pretty good.
Yeah. Number 4, we have kind of this magical, mysterious category of miscellaneous or other things.
Which encompasses everything?
Yeah, which is kind of all of the stuff. It might
Other
be
things?
because you need to go to the chemist. It might be because we need to get a car battery. It might be because birthday presents. It's just all the other stuff.
Yeah. Services or whatever,
Yeah, so that's been a big one. I'm not quite sure how much we budgeted for
it
that.
was way less than what we got in here. So miscellaneous other. So we just kind of thrown everything else together that isn't part of the other categories, and it's about $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
So there's been some big things in there that we bought and paid for, and like servicing and all that kind of stuff. But, and I guess we bought the drone. That was a big expense, and we threw that in there. So a couple of big things in there bumped that one up quite severely. Yeah. And our last one was experiences, and we're averaging. This is under our expected budget. Is $234 a month. So again, we try and do a lot of things that are low cost, and we don't need to pay for.
I think probably the things that we enjoy doing most as a family are being out in nature, being at the beach, and so mostly a lot of that stuff is free.
And I guess if you go to national parks, you need a parks pass, but they're only cheap. They're not expensive, and you get to have a full day there, and it's so much fun. So we've kind of stayed away from a lot of the really touristy areas as well as most we can. So we haven't had a lot of expense there, so that was a pretty good one. So
a month we're spending about $4,500, give or take.
So depending on size of your family and what your I suppose how you shop and eat and where you like to go, it could be vastly different or
but that's us.
That's us. So that was our budget.
Number 5 it was something that we've been asked about a couple of times, and it's about food. And looking at what food, given that we have such small fridge space and small cooking facilities, what are we eating on the road? How are we managing to kind of organise our food?
So we've only got a small fridge. We've got a 2-burner gas cooktop, which we cook most of our things. Most of our stuff are cooked on a 2-burner from Bunnings, which we hook up to the gas. And the Thermomix, which is good because we can run that on our inverter or when we're plugged in. So that's what we cook on for the most part. And
we do have a small oven. Which we use very rarely because it's really not big enough to cook a family meal in.
No, it's an old school caravan oven. It works pretty well. It heats up pretty hot, but it's just regulating the temperature is a bit tricky.
Yeah, it's okay to do a really quick batch of small bickies or something, but if it had to stay in there for a long period of time, or if it was, you couldn't possibly cook enough roast vegetables in there for us as a family, so we really don't use it very much.
No,
and it makes the van very hot.
It does, yeah. And when where we are now, it's just too hot. It's not bearable.
Yeah.
So most of our dinner meals, I guess, revolve around something with pasta or rice or noodles, because they're easy to store. They're long life, and they're light. So you can carry them around a lot.
So we might have, like a lentil veggie pasta sauce, being vegetarian as well. Lentil veggie pasta sauce, or like a cashew nut kind of pumpkin sauce, or a pesto and some sauteed veggies kind of on pasta. So any of that kind of stuff for pastas.
Yeah, with rice we do lots of curries or stroganoff, or the mingle spice blends are really good.
Yeah, the buttered chicken, we do a buttered chickpea.
Or you need some veggies,
some coconut
cream and tofu, and they're pretty good meals.
Yep.
Or things with rice, noodles, or just noodles like stir fries and that kind of thing are pretty good.
It's pretty easy. One pan really. Apart from the noodles.
Or things with potatoes. We do loaded potatoes.
Yeah, the girls love loaded potatoes. Can do them on the fire, which makes them even better.
Yeah, so we do have our Spinifex camp cooking set, which we haven't been able to use too much we haven't had too many fires going. We have used them a couple of times. They've been very handy, but we would have loved to have had more fires going, I guess. But the way it is.
Well, just with fire restrictions in different places and the times that we've been travelling through.
Hasn't worked out.
Yeah, and also if you're only somewhere overnight, to be carrying that much firewood or to gather that much firewood it hasn't always worked.
Yeah, and it's easier and quicker just to chuck things on the stovetop.
Yeah.
So that was our food breakdown. Number 5. Number 6 is
something we often get asked about when we run into other families who are also travelling long term on the road.
Is our homeschooling / van schooling.
Yes.
So people always ask, how's the year off school, or how's the van schooling going? And we reply.
Yes. So van schooling, for us, it's not been an overly difficult thing because we were home educating before. But most of the people we've run into on the road are doing it for the period of time that they're travelling. And it takes a while to get used to feeling comfortable with how things are going. And so we often have a lot of questions from people about what we do and how it's going and is this normal and the struggles that they're having. So that has been a conversation that we've had quite a bit travelling around, interestingly enough.
Yep. But overall, I would say it's going very well.
Yeah.
And we've got into a good routine now on what the girls do and how it all runs. So
so should we talk about some of the things that we do? We use as kind of part of the officially what we call van schooling.
So the girls have got a nature journal or travel journal that they update. Obviously. I had grand plans on they'd update it for every place we go to, and every day they'd sit down and do it of an afternoon, and that's just not going to happen.
So they have 2 journals. They have a nature journal, which they use. They mostly do watercolour painting in, and then they also have a travel journal. So their nature journal, they will paint and write about mostly nature things that they see, things that they've animals, plants, trees, places, landscapes that they've
whether it's dolphins or crocodiles or turtles or
uluru.
Yep.
Any of those things, they often like to paint or draw something, just as a bit of a way to remember, as a bit of a reminder of some of the specifics of that place. And then they also have a travel journal, which they aren't doing too much writing in. What they mostly do is they collect heaps of brochures and pamphlets and ticket stubs from places that we've been to, and then every now and then we'll have a sit down and we'll get out the glue and our scissors and our pencils and pens, and they will just do pages of sticking things in and kind of collaging it all together, and labelling and writing a few words as, again, a bit of a reminder for them about some of the experiences they had and what they thought about them as they were going. So that's kind of one of the things that we get up to.
They also have a set of workbooks each. So they have some literacy and numeracy workbooks that they work through. And again, they don't do those every day. If we're travelling, we know we're travelling for a few days back to back, they will get them to do a bit in the morning, first thing in the car for an hour or so, or if we're staying for a period of time at a spot, they might do every second day or third day and just knock some over and do some, and we'll sit down and go through it with them. And
it just depends what other things they're getting up to. If they're already sitting down at some stage of the day and writing other things, then we'll call it a day in terms of, writing stuff. So they do have some workbooks that they can kind of turn back to if they want to sit down and just do a couple of pages and get some of those done. We also have some online subscriptions which they use on their tablets. So they have Prodigy, which they use for maths.
Prodigy Maths program.
We also have the Reading Eggs app, which only our youngest really uses now.
Because Frances has moved beyond that, I think.
She
could probably still use it. But
she could,
but she's reading now, so it's a bit different for her.
So Reading Eggs, maths, English stuff on there if you want to. And the other thing that they get into is their Duolingo, their online language learning.
So they're both learning Italiano at the moment.
And they've also been throwing in some Japanese.
And a bit of Japanese, So Prodigy and Reading Eggs, they're both paid subscriptions. So you pay for a bit of a yearly thing or monthly, depending on. And then Duolingo, you can pay for that one, but if you can create a student account and they can have it for free. So they just have the free Duolingo account. So it doesn't cost too much for the other two.
So other things that we get up to, so when it comes time with home education for us in Tassie, there comes a period of time in the year where we have to submit kind of what they've been doing. And so these are the sorts of things that we're going to be submitting for the work that they've been doing. They do lots of things like they write postcards back home to their friends and family. They write letters to their friends.
Old school letters.
Yes. So we just take a picture of those things and then send them off. So that's they're ready to show when it comes time. They're also constantly crafting. My gosh.
Wool. Shells, anything you can find, bows and arrows, just from any kind of equipment they can get their hands on, sticks and making rope, and
they have whittled things and made things and crafted things.
But Delilah's getting really good at knitting.
Yes, so they have crafted, they've left things with friends that they've met along the way, they've posted things, so they're constantly crafting things, which they absolutely love.
They do.
We also brought some games along with us, so we brought some card games and some dice, like with dice type games, and all those sorts of things can be included in different ways that they're learning. We also do a lot of experiential learning, really, which is probably mostly what we do in terms of learning about the location that we're in through actually being and doing things there.
Just
so obviously
learning about places by being there.
We take photos of them being in places and we will use that as documentation for a lot of their learning. But they're learning heaps about geography and place and culture and just so much.
And while we don't do we sit down and have designated time every day to do something, they're always doing something every day. So whether it's a workbook or we're going out on an adventure to a national park or something in particular, they're always doing something. So we don't necessarily sit down every day and do something. No.
Absolutely no. So that was one of the things we have run into people who've kind of went, we don't have
do
time.
2 or 3 hours every day or more than that. It's like,
we have had people who've kind of said we've actually spent so much time of a morning doing our schoolwork every day that we don't have time to go out and do the national park, or that we don't have time to go to the beaches and do this stuff.
And that's why you travel. That's why you do this stuff.
So if anything, I've tried to allay people's fears about having to do too much. the kids, I mean, having this kind of experience and opportunity to learn in this way is incredible for them. So, yeah, get out there. Get out there, do all the things, talk about all the things to the family, experience it, and enjoy it. Yeah.
So
that's van schooling.
Van schooling. Fisher style. Number 7 was how's all of our equipment holding up? So the car, the caravan, and other things. Car and caravan peaches are going quite well. We've had the car serviced twice. That should be all we need till we get home. The caravan's had a going over once or twice. We've had a new tyre put on as a precaution, but that's all gone pretty well. It's holding up very well.
We've had a couple of leaks in the roof.
Yeah.
It's an old van.
Yep. So just a bit of silicon's fixed that up pretty well. We haven't seen rain for about 2 months, so we'll see what happens when we get some rain. So that's been pretty good.
And the solar?
Yeah, solar's been going great. The girls' bikes are going good. We got some bikes when we first got over to Victoria, and they're no longer with us. We got rid of them. They was just carrying them around for no reason. So they either broke or just, So we had a bike carrier on the back of the caravan. That's gone as well. Again, just something extra we probably didn't need. And we just walk everywhere. We don't need the bikes.
It was a lot of weight on the back of the van. Our van probably wasn't really set up for that kind of...
No, we've had that conversation with some other people as well about do they really need their bikes. And they've decided, I think, to get rid of the adult bikes as well. As long as the kids have got bikes to ride around on, they've got, something to do. It's good. We had our camp kitchen, little portable camp kitchen that we got rid of. Just a simple table does the job perfectly fine with our sink inside our caravan, so we didn't need that, so we sold that one. Our gas cookers, we bought one second-hand before we left, and that one carked it, so we bought another one from Bunnings, and through constant cleaning and just a bit of repair work, it's still going. I thought we'd have to chuck that one away and get another one, but just clean the little injectors because they get a bit clogged. Still going strong.
Holding on.
We'll see how long that goes for.
We're surviving on just the indoor caravan fridge after we got rid of the car fridge that we bought.
And we should be right now till the end. We'll just keep going on our little fridge. We've got it down pat now.
We do.
The drone's going well. Our GoPro, first GoPro stopped working.
It's gone.
It was on the brink for some time. We only got it just before we left. Don't know what happened, but it just started getting fuzzy screen and not turning on. So GoPro replaced it for us, which is really great. But little did we know that we had to keep the battery from the old one because they said it's a new one without a battery, so we had to go get one. Not a biggie.
Oh dear.
So we've got a new GoPro, which is good. Replacement for free. Good warranty on the GoPros.
Our camp chairs are looking quite sad at this stage. This stage in the trip. The girls, I think, have all lost at least one of the fabric arms on their chair, but
they're all sittable still.
Sad but survivable.
Still working.
They're still getting there. They'll be right.
And we also bought some jackets for some winter stuff, which we needed to wear a couple of times. But definitely they've been packed away since coming to the Northern Territory. We haven't needed them at all. So
there was a short period of time, wasn't it, there between south of WA and across the Nullarbor?
Kind of to the middle-ish. But since Coober Pedy we haven't needed them.
No. And but we have also been through multiple sets of shoes and socks. They're just a consumable item.
Especially Philly. Oh, and Delilah, she's outgrowing shoes like...
Shoes.
Yeah, they're going out of fashion. It's
crazy.
Huge.
Shoes and socks, underwear, girls growing out of clothes.
Again, another thing you got to
which goes into the, miscellaneous expenses. But we use op shops a lot. Because we're not exactly after fancy clothes. We're not really doing much going out to the theatre at the moment. So
no fancy clothes needed.
No. So the op shops are great for that.
So that was how things are holding up our equipment wise. Number 8 what are our pets? So we haven't really spoken too much about Charlie and Bronte and Jasmine and how they're going. So they can't talk, so they can't tell us how they're going. But from what we can see, I think they're loving being with us for the most part. And we were just having a conversation the other day. I was like, I wonder if they're like, they just take things on the fly and they're no longer at their home that they've been at for so long, and now they're just going from place to place. I wonder what is going on, or am I ever going to see home again, or what are they thinking? But they seem to be going pretty well. They are. We haven't had any health issues with any of the animals, which has been great. Yeah. You went and bought some of their preventative things.
So before we left Tassie, we've got a great vet, and we had a good vet visit. We talked through all of the things, because obviously in different places in Australia there are different requirements, not for vaccination necessarily, but different pests that can disturb them. So we have our pets on two things. We've got them on NexGuard Spectra and the Seresto collar. So the NexGuard Spectra is mostly for heart, worm, those sorts of things. But the Seresto collar was something that we never needed in Tassie, and it's to help a certain tick attaching. So we had a great vet visit. She talked through it all with us.
Recommended those things.
Yep. So we've gotten those for them, and they've been working really well so far.
Yep.
And we'll have to have a vet appointment. Because we're gone for the year, right before we travel back on the Spirit to get them all updated with their vaccines, and
to get on the Spirit. Pet food, pretty low cost. It's not a big expense, and they're pretty easy with what they eat. We just carry dry food, and that's all they add at home, so we don't have to worry about keeping meat in the fridge and cooled.
Cat litter.
Cat litter again.
Easy. Apart from having to put Charlie into a kennel sometimes, I mean, he's a really great traveller. We just make sure we know if we're doing a big day. We do a bit of a walk in the morning. Obviously we have to do lots of stops for the girls' bladders anyway, so
we get him out and,
he can get out and go for a walk and go to the toilet, have some water. So it's been pretty good, pretty easy. They're doing well.
Number 9, 2 to go. So routines and exercises. So we've
kind of what our every day looks like.
So we've got into a pretty good routine. I guess keeping our minds and our bodies as healthy as we can. We've got a few exercises, I guess, that we do every morning, to a bit of a routine we go through just to make sure we're ready for the day, if we're not going on a big adventure. So on the everyday, we would get up, move our bodies, and then
it's a good start to the day.
Exercise our minds.
So you like to head out for a run or...
run or a bit of a workout, and all I do for that is just some kettlebells or skipping rope and a yoga mat, and you've got your...
I like to head out for a walk, usually with Charlie, or do a bit of an exercise routine. I bought an online kind of monthly subscription, which is so cheap, with Core and Floor, I think it's Core and Floor Restore, with the lovely Bernadette Lack, who is fantastic, and they have like an online exercise program, and you can kind of just pick and choose what you do on any given day. It's super cheap. It's really fantastic. I love it. Can't say enough good things about it. And
while you're doing that and I'm doing my thing, the girls are busy. They're either doing some circus training, or they've got a YouTube video series from Anna McNulty, so lots of strength and conditioning work, stretching to keep them limber and ready to go back to circus next year when they get home. And all of their circus equipment, so whether it's hula hooping or
juggling balls
or anything like that. So we don't get those out every day, but they will do some stretching, and they've got into a good habit of doing that most mornings.
That was something that was really important to them. They do want to go straight back into circus, and they don't want to feel like they've kind of lost some of the strength and stretch and conditioning that they had. So
so you don't need to take a lot to keep keep your body active while you're out and about. And again, we just do lots of walking as well. So
we are. We're always.
Yeah, they're always moving. You're always getting up, stepping up into the caravan and down, and there's way more movement than if you're at home.
And I think probably the hardest days are when you've got those days of big travelling where you get up really early and you kind of just get on the road straight away, and then you're just doing lots and lots of driving. You get to the end of the day and you've just done a lot of sitting, and it always makes people a little bit grouchy. So yeah, things are better when we kind of have a bit of movement, at least in the morning, and then we can kind of go from there. Yeah,
definitely.
Apart from that, other things that we kind of get up to daily, well, like we said before, most of our meals are cooked at home, unless we are heading out for a big day where we'll pack kind of lunch and snack food stuff all the time. So we do mostly that kind of stuff at home. Some kind of learning, you know, and not necessarily just the girls either, some kind of learning or work, whether you're doing some work or whether I'm doing some work. We're always doing something. What else? Reading.
Lots of reading.
Lots of reading.
Sometimes it's hard to get the girls to put the books down at night time. So they've been up a bit late reading than they usually would be at home. Well, had been, so that might have changed if we're at home now. But lots of reading going on.
And the other thing is audiobooks.
We've spoken about those before.
We have a love affair with audiobooks. So audiobooks are fantastic. We use them when we have those big travel days. Apart from whatever the girls are doing physically with their hands in the back of the car, crafting or whatevering, audiobooks are really fantastic. And of an evening, trying to go to bed, kind of trying
because our sleep routine, we'll go into the caravan of a night and the girls settle down and we sit down and do something quietly. So the audiobook's on while they're going to sleep, which they're never asleep by the end of it.
No, but I suppose...
Ophelia usually is, but the other two aren't. So,
and I suppose if we were home, we've got, multi-age children, you may potentially have the youngest going to bed and the older one being able to stay up a little bit later with the light on in her room or something. But because we're all in the caravan together, we do kind of need to make it work that we are all kind of settling down at the same time.
So we don't make Delilah put a book down, so she's up reading for a bit later. And,
but she might listen to the audiobook first, and so that's usually another part of our daily routine that happens. That and adventuring, exploring, doing fantastic things every day. It's kind of where we're at.
That's it. And we've come to the end of our list, our very last, number 10 is where to from here.
Where to from here? Well, I suppose where is here? Where are we?
So we're in the Northern Territory. We're a bit behind our videos. We will have one up for our journey through the centre, through Kubapedi and Uluru, and up towards Darwin. So we'll do that. And then once we leave here, we'll be heading eastward over to our old former home state of Queensland. Working our way down the coast and some inland tracks from North Queensland. So technically we're on the way home now.
We are. I feel like we've been as far distance-wise away from Tassie as we will be for the trip. And so every day we're kind of getting closer to home.
What do we work out? It's 2,800 kilometres from where we are to Cairns, and then it's another 2,800 kilometres from Cairns to Tassie. So it's crazy. So that's where we're off to next on our next driving adventure. But we'll try and get a couple of videos up before we get to those spots.
Absolutely. So hopefully some of these things have helped you. Things that we've picked up along the way and how things are going for us.
So after 6 months, we're not packing it up and going home, but we're kind of in the direction of going home now. So we can see the home in the horizon almost. So I hope you've enjoyed and got something out of it, and we'll get another video to you soon. See ya.
Bye.